Okay, it's 8:30. We'll start our work session. We'll let, Tina head that.
Well, we'll say that very loosely because, I'm not a big technology person myself, but when the board started to consider having the county email retention policy that we're going to implement on July 1st, the board requested some training that we do with the full board. So we're going to do that this morning here for the work session. And then we're also going to review the same training tomorrow at the department head meeting with the department heads. And then the idea is department heads will kind of become train the trainers and go back and make sure they talk to their staff. So we're all learning how we can save data out of our email or save emails. So we're gonna go through this. You guys all have your computers in front of you so you can follow along as we go. If you try to click and work ahead, we might get in trouble because if one of you gets lost in your computer, we'll have to take some time to get you unlocked before the meeting. So if we can follow along at the pace of the training document, so we don't get ahead of ourselves, hopefully we'll eliminate any problems that might occur when we go through it. So storing data with our email policy, email retention policy, the board approved it to be up to 3 years. After 3 years, data will be automatically deleted from email. And so as commissioners, I know it's a little bit different than those of us that are working at the county. I know you guys don't save a lot of data, but we still want to go through the process of how you do that. So you have an understanding and you know what is backed up and what isn't backed up. And before we start that, it's just an important note to make sure everybody understands that there's a difference between storage and retention. The Minnesota General Rules or Minnesota General Records Retention Schedule is a document that outlines which all the departments in county government and what their retention schedule is. Because there are some documents that we have to save, forever. There's some documents we have to save for 10 years. There's some documents we might have to save for 20 years, whatever that might be. There is a schedule out there that's regulated by the state. So that retention is followed by all departments. What we're going to talk about today is that the data that we retain in our email, I can share in transparency that I use my email a lot of times like a virtual file cabinet, and that's not what it's intended for. It's just kind of an easy place to go back and find something if you received it by email, but getting in a better practice of saving it into a file on our computer that's getting backed up. So in the event we would have some sort of cyber incident, again, in the future, we have things that are being backed up and we don't lose it. So again, retention is different than storage. We're going to be talking about storage of data on email today. And our policy that you approved, as you remember, is it's 3 years, and our attorney is okay with that. And then there's nothing we have to do ourselves. It's just going to automatically, the system is going to be designed to delete after 3 years. So if you receive something important, it's important that we save it someplace outside of email data. So there's options. We have servers, which is our best option because those are the ones that are backed up. We can save on our desktop, but if we save on our desktop, that does not get backed up. I know some commissioners have referenced in the past that if you get a document that you like to reference, if you get a phone call, you will save it on your desktop so you can find it easily and open it to see it. And that's totally fine. Just know that if it's on your desktop and something happens with your computer, it's not backed up. But as a commissioner, more than likely, you're going to be able to reach out to the department that provided the information and get it back. Again, email, you can keep your email as a virtual filing cabinet, but it is not the best practice. And then the other thing is a thumb drive, and that's these little gadgets here that you can plug into your computer and you can save things on this. If they're saved on this and not put on any other device, this isn't backed up. So if you would lose this, it's now gone. But I'll just talk about myself again. I collect a lot of things in my email. So I've got some work to do before July 1st when we implement our policy. I got to go through and take data out that I want to save. For me, I'm thinking a good option will be to use this to put all that data on and then transfer it. You know, just go through, put it all on here, and then I can, as I have time, take it off here and put it into my files that are backed up on my computer. But this is a thumb drive. It's a good way to transfer data, but just know this is not backed up either. So the server is the best option. The commissioners do not have their own commissioner server that's active. There is one developed and out on our network, but it's never been put into activation because it's never been asked to do so. I don't know if you would find that helpful or not, but each department has a server. So like as a coordinator, I believe it's the F drive, and that's where I put all of my documents. That's specific to my department. Another example would be there's an R drive and it's called the radio drive. And so the sheriff's office can put stuff in there and emergency management can put stuff in there and they can both see it. And all of that networking that's done behind the scenes is done by Morse Electronics. Okay, so if you receive an email from somebody and it has an attachment, everybody here knows what an attachment is in the email, right? It's the document that's attached when you receive it. It's above the body of the email. You can save those documents to your computer. Okay, I say when I get something, and I need to be better at this, to take the time to save it into a file right away. So I don't just keep it in email, because after 3 years, that email will go away. So that's why if you receive a document from somebody, you would want to save it. But it's in that top toolbar above the body of your email. And a lot of times they're a PDF or a Word document. And the PDF symbol is that little kind of red squiggly line. And if it's a Word document, I think it's blue box with a W in it. So what you do is you would use your cursor and you would right click on the document. So you receive your email, you open up your email, and you see that there's a document on there that you want to save. Okay, you right click on the document by placing your cursor on the document. You hit the right click and then you get a drop box. When that drop box goes down, there is an option called Save As. And whenever you're originally saving a document, you use Save As. Okay, if you're ever typing a document and you just want to save, then there's a save option. But Save As is what you go to in the drop down box after you use your cursor. You go on your document, right click, drop down box, and then you go to the Save As. Once you hit Save As, a new box pops up. And you'll see you have options that you can click on. You have your desktop, you have a documents file, you have a pictures file, and then if you had a drive on your computer, which currently commissioners do not, but I do as my department, I've got a drive in there, I would go and find my drive where I have my folders. But if you wanted to save it to your desktop for easy reference, you would click desktop. If you wanted to save it in your documents file, that's just kind of a generic file on your computer, you can click it in there as well. But once you hit that Save As box, then the new box pops up and that gives you the options. So on the left-hand side where all those options are listed, you can move up and down that to find where you want it. If you want desktop, you click desktop. For myself, I would go down and I would find my coordinator drive, my F drive, and then I would put my cursor on it and I would click that. Once you click your drive or you click desktop, then another box pops up and that's where you can put the name of the document. Sometimes the name of the document, if you receive a document that somebody else has, we'll just say Grant County policy, and it says that's what's gonna pop up in the file name. You can keep that, or you can change it to a name that maybe would help you better remember it, but you would change it where it says file name towards the bottom of that box. And then you would hit save. And that's really how easy it is. you put your cursor over the document, you right click and hit save as. And when you hit save as, a box pops open. And then on the left-hand side, you would move up and down to find where you want to save it. Again, your options right now on your laptops are your desktop, your documents file. You would click on that, and then you would either use the name the document already has, or you would give it a name and you would click save. Okay, just remember when it's saved on your desktop, it's not getting backed up. But for you guys, that's not a super big concern because again, you can contact, say, hey, Tina, remember you sent me this one document. I don't have it anymore. Can you send it again? Now, if I receive an attachment document from AMC that's really important and I want to save it, I'm going to save it into my F drive because that's the coordinator drive. That drive automatically gets backed up. And so if for some reason I have a computer meltdown, Morse Electronics should be able to go in and find that document for me. But again, what we experienced when we had our cyber incident, a lot of people spent time recontacting agencies, other agencies that sent them information to have it resent again. But
Excuse me. So if there is a document that we want to make sure is saved, or maybe that's coming, what would be the process for a commissioner?
so we would need to activate a drive, a commissioner's drive. That would be in your save as box.
There isn't any other.
There isn't one in there right now, but we can put one in there if commissioners would like that. Because I talked to Darren and he said a long time ago one was created, but it's just never been activated.
So then within that drive, and we could, well, let's say we had our CAN, for instance, and within CAN, I could put this document. Would that be open then to everybody?
That would be a good question for more.
I think they can restrict files to individual access, but they would have to set that up. So within a drive, if you all use the same drive, yes, typically you would be able to see everybody else's things, but they can restrict folder access to each of you probably in that.
I don't know that it's needed at the time.
I would recommend if a commissioner wants the ability to save something, we just give them a thumb drive.
Yeah, that was my next comment, I guess.
And that's what these little things are. But I think the important takeaway for the commissioners to know is that every department has our own drive and we're saving to it. And we have, the county has spent money to make sure that those things are now, backed up frequently. So we have that retention there. And then a best practice that we're gonna, have to get used to as departments within Grant County is making sure that when we get emails with important information, our documents, that we're saving them to our drive and not just keeping them in our email files, because after 3 years, those will automatically
Disappear.
delete, yes. Okay, so you can also save an email. And we're gonna get into that, but before we do, we're gonna talk just quickly about phishing emails, because phishing emails, Sean Larson tells us every month at our department head meetings that they're still the number one way people get hacked is by clicking on a bad email. So we're just gonna quickly refresh that, and then we'll go into how we can save an email. And briefly go over that. Again, I don't know if that's something commissioners will do that frequently, but as department heads tomorrow, that's something that we're probably gonna go over really, really closely, just to make sure everyone understands how you can save an email thread. But we will talk about phishing just quick. Again, it's most common entry point for a cyber attack. So we always want to verify the sender's address. So when you receive an email and you look at the sender, and let's say it says Tina Riley, there could be someone, phishing me, making it seem like it's me, but it's not really me. And the way to tell is you look behind my name at the email address. And if it's not the tina.riley@grantcountymn.gov, don't click on it. That's your first indicator that it's not really me. it will have some crazy email address. And sometimes it just shows a name, but if you hover over that name with your cursor, it'll show the email address. And we wanna always check that, cause a lot of times it'll have a misspelled word, or it'll be a crazy weird word, or it will be numbers and letters, and it just won't look right. So that's our first.
Tina, shouldn't our first indication be a banner?
Yes, you are right, Troy. There should be a banner. I believe, since I've been here though, there's been a couple times when banners haven't shown up, and it's been something Morse Electronics has looked into. So sometimes there is glitches, but yes, there should be a banner that says this is from an outside agency or an outside source. But then look at the name, hover over it, look at the email address.
So, excuse me, back to this, would the banner appear if it's not more than likely legitimate?
If it's not coming off of our server, it should have a banner.
Okay,
Is
so
my
that would be
understanding.
definitely a.
Yeah.
Red flag.
Yep, so like, let's say you get an email from Horizon Public Health or Western.
Well, I'm
Fair.
just looking at a Horizon, they're on our server.
Oh, yeah, good point. This is why I probably shouldn't be teaching this class. Let's say it came
Didn't we
from,
just get one from Dwight here a couple weeks ago that came with a banner, but it had Dwight's name on it?
Mhm. Yeah, they're getting tricky, like the hacker attackers are getting very tricky. But another example would be like the school. If
Right.
you got an email from West Central Area Schools, that's an outside agency, it should have that banner.
No, that's a legitimate. Horizon does, I was looking on the bottom, it's right on top.
Probably send you all,
Horizon does have the banner.
just send one.
No, that's a legit, and it's a legitimate email, it's just not from Grant County.
So
So
the
that
banner
purple
is-
banner tells you that this is an outside email.
But doesn't necessarily mean it's inappropriate.
No,
Just mean, okay, that was what I was asking, okay.
So the banner is a helpful tool, but it's not, you can't just rely on the banner. You always gotta check the sender's address. A lot of times phishing emails have a sense of urgency, like you have to click on this or you have to respond in the next 2 days or the next 12 hours. If you're not sure, please don't click on any links. And then when in doubt, if you get something from me, but it doesn't look right, or you get something from Maya, or you get something from Holly Joe and it doesn't look right, call the person and say, hey, I got this email. It doesn't really look right. Did you send this? And they can be like, yep, I did. Then you know, or they can say, no, I didn't. And then we know not to open it.
They were checking on, they sent me one checking on it yesterday. The training. Well, I did everything right on that one.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Well, and then if you do get a phishing email, there's different ways to respond. One, you can delete it. And just delete it, that's fine. Another thing you can do, another option is when you're looking at your email, in the upper right-hand corner, there's a button that says phishing. And it's not phishing, F-I-S-H-I-N-G, it's P-H-I-S-H-I-N-G. And you can click that, and what it does is it reports it basically. And Morse Electronics goes through those reports to see what it is. The other option, there's a third option, is you can take a snip of the email and you can send the snip as a picture. So when you snip something, think of it like taking a pair of scissors and cutting out a picture. Okay, and there is a way to do that. And again, I know there's different levels of comfortableness amongst the commissioners and how you handle things. But you can take a snip of an email and send it as a picture to Morse Electronics, and then they'll look at it and they'll say, it's fine, or yep, this is phishing, good job. If you want to snip something, okay, take a picture of something and send it. When you're looking at your screen in the bottom left-hand corner, there's 4 little blue boxes that make a square. And you would click on that icon. And when you click on that, you can choose the snip option. And the snip option is a picture of a scissors and some red lines. And when you get that option, then it gives you a cursor of your email, and you can just select by pulling it down, select the area you want to take a picture of. So if you want to take a picture of the address, or you want to take a picture of the whole email, you just make a box all the way around it. And once you do that and let go, it's gonna give you the option to save it. And then you would hit save and it saves in your picture file. And then you can attach that picture to an email that you send to somebody else. Okay. So those are the three options when you get, you suspect a phishing email. You can delete it. You can hit the phishing button up in the right-hand corner, or you can take a snip, a picture of it, and send that to somebody else. And sometimes I've done that in the past because it looks pretty official, it looks pretty right, but there's just something about it that I'm not sure. I'll take a picture and I'll send it to Morse Electronics and they tell me if it's good or not.
Did it work? Did you get the banner?
Well,
It showed, some showed up.
Okay. So, last but not least, we're gonna talk about, just quickly here, because again, I don't think it's something that, that commissioners are gonna have to do very often, but I think it's important, even if you just remember reference to this training, and then you can always call and we can help you do it, but we can save an email thread. Let's say you have, Bill will use you, let's just say you have an email.
Let's just say,
You have an email thread with the state legislature that you're talking to. And it's got a lot of really good information and there's no documents. It's just emails back and forth and let's say it's some numbers or something like that you wanna,
you're talking no attachments,
no
right?
attachments, it's just an email. You
Okay.
can save an email. And so when you're in your email, at the in the upper right-hand corner, you have file, message, help,
Upper left.
excuse me, upper left, there's a little taskbar above your email taskbar and file is up there. You would click on file, like when you're gonna go save anything, you click on file and you go to save as.
Right.
Okay, you click on file, but instead of going to save, you go to print. It's kind of tricky, but it's just how we can do it. So if you want to save your email thread, not an attachment or a document, you go to file and you go to print. When you click on print, it has this drop down like it does all the other times when you go hit file and you find print. And after you click the print option, a box pops up. Okay, and the box pops up, and it gives you options. It says PDF and it gives you different printer options. Okay. You want to click on the top printer, there's a drop down button. You'll see it. If you go there now, you'll see it. But after you hit print, the box pops up and then there's a little drop down arrow and it's just the arrowhead that's pointing down and you click on the down button. When that drop down box comes up, you can arrow through the options or scroll through the options and you want to select Adobe PDF. Okay, because when you save that email thread, it's gonna save as a PDF file. And so you select Adobe PDF. Once you click on Adobe PDF, you hit the print button. So it's a little bit wonky because you'd think you would hit save, but you're trying to print it and it has to save it as a PDF first. And then it'll give you that document and then you'll get that box that pops up again where you can save on your desktop, save in your documents file, or if like in my case, I can go to my coordinator drive and I can save the email thread there. Okay, so you can save documents out of your email. You can save your actual email thread. And for you guys, your main takeaway is, so you want to take it out of email, you can save it. Right now, your best option is on your desktop or on a thumb drive.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Department heads and employees, we all have our drives. And that's where we would save those things, the documents or the emails. And then the phishing thing, we just have to remember that it is the most common way that people get attacked by these hackers. So just, Sean Larson always says, slow down, slow down, slow down. Check the name, check the email behind the name. You can call them to see if they sent it. If you're not sure, delete it or hit the phishing button. And then if you're feeling really techie, you can take a snip of it and send it as a picture to verify. Hey, that was very stressful. Cause again, I'm not the best technology person, but we're gonna be going over this tomorrow with Morse Electronics when they're here with the department heads. All in preparation for that July 1st implementation date of our email retention policy. And again, with that, there's nothing anyone has to do, but anything saved in your email only will be deleted after 3 years.
So, good.
So if we don't go through some mass deleting process of our emails, they eventually get, running, they eventually get deleted. And they'll be
Automatic.
gone from our,
Mhm. So if you haven't looked for something in a really long time, and it's been longer than 3 years, and you go back and try to find it in your email, it will be gone.
but not deleting them doesn't gum up the system wide.
No, it's all,
It's gonna take care of itself.
yes.
When are they gonna plan to start?
Well, we'll be talking about it, tomorrow at the department head meeting and kind of as we get closer. Right now, the important takeaway for all the employees is to start going through, making sure they're saving, if they haven't already saved important things.
Okay, at 9 o'clock, we stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the agenda.
So,
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval of the agenda. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Approval of minute meetings, sorry. Meeting minutes. Sorry.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve the minutes.
Okay,
Next meeting.
do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the meeting minutes. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Approval of the warrants.
Mr. Chair, I got a question, and this is a question from Maya. You know, there's a Wade Nibby at $850.
Say that one more time, I'm sorry.
The Wade Nibby,
Yeah,
is that all three buildings?
that's this building right now.
Okay,
So that is a backup electric boiler and it hasn't been on. We haven't had to run it all year, so he's been checking this building daily.
okay,
Yep.
okay. Thank you.
Mhm. And I'll talk a little bit about that in my spiel too.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
Okay, we have a motion to pay the bill. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to pay the bills. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Okay, so we're 1 minute early for extension. There she is. See what you guys can come up if you want to. Morning.
Thank you for having us this morning. We just hired a new youth development for each educator, Azalea Lott. And today we're just bringing Azalea here to just introduce her, tell you about herself and what plans she has for the program for the year. And hoping that this will create an opportunity for her to continue to getting the support from Grand County commissioners and the communities at large.
My name is Azalea Lott. I'm from Fergus Falls, and so not too far from here. Grown up there most of my life. I live in Ashby for a small portion now, so I'm familiar with the area. I've been in 4-H for about 10 years prior to this, and have been involved in different ways after high school graduation. My background is in early childhood education. I was formerly a preschool teacher in Fargo, North Dakota, before I have been relocated back to Fergus Falls. This is my 4th week now, so getting to know the community, getting to know the area, yeah, just familiarize myself with the role and what all that entails, so, yeah.
Yeah, so Azalea's office is over at City Hall, just down in that basement. So whenever you have an opportunity and you're in the area, it'll be nice for her to see you all and get to know the work that she's doing here in Grand County. This year, like she said, we're just kind of focusing on where the gaps are with the opening that we had for a few months with Emily being gone. And just really rebuilding the community program and supporting the after school program and getting new connections going. With the hopes that by the end of the year, when we come and give you an overview of what we've done, we want to show you the growth that we've improved because Azalea is here full time. But also, we want her in community. So if you stop by and she's not there, that's a good thing. That means she's out there meeting people and forming connections. So yeah, that's our plan for the year. Obviously, she's gonna be busy planning the fair and all that takes a lot of time and energy. And we're glad to have Commissioner Fair on the fair board. So she's been able to make some connections there, and we'll keep the pool running with the fair. So, any questions for us?
No question. The reference gaps, excuse me, in the next year. Talk to us about the gaps that are in place, because we have had a program that would take a year to fill. Talk about that, what your vision and goals are.
Yeah, our vision is to really build on the community club aspect that we already have. Community clubs are just a group of people that meet regularly and do projects together. And at the end of the year, we have a showcase. The fair is only one place that youth get to show their projects, but we have other opportunities throughout the year that youth get to showcase that. So really fostering on that, but also that building on that after school program, connecting with the library to really work with the library on the programs that they have to expand that. So going to places that they are already youth meeting and expanding the opportunities there is where we see some of the gaps. The previous educator tried to have some connection with the early education center and just wasn't successful in that. And Azalea has already kind of made that connection. So those are some of the gaps that will be closing, but really focusing on people that new audience that we haven't reached. We're doing a new program called Beyond Ready. It's nothing new from what we've done in the past, but this new initiative is really to get youth ready when they pass the high school graduation, that they're ready for the workforce, that when you bring them onto your organization, that they're ready to assume the responsibility of what it looks like to be a young professional. So that's really gonna boost up the program even more in different ways in STEM and ag and in civic engagement as well. So we're hoping that when we come back sometime after the fair with some update on what we've done, we will hopefully show you the growth of what we were last year and where we're headed.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Well, we want to thank you and welcome to Grand County.
Thank you so much for having us this morning.
Thank you. Thank
Have a
you.
good day.
Okay, highway department.
Morning, guys. Morning. I got two things for you. First is County Road 20 improvements, bid summary and recommendation. Engineer's estimate, or it was bid last week, or, hold on. No, yeah, last week. Came back, engineer's estimate 1.705681.18. $1,705,681.18. Bids that came back, Mark Sand and Gravel, 1.41366.61 million. They were the low bidder at 17% below the engineer's estimate. So I recommend awarding the contract to the low bidder, Mark Sand and Gravel, in the amount of $1,413,666.61.
Okay, we have a motion to that effect.
I will make that motion as part of the highway committee. Sure.
Okay, do we have a second?
Bill second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none.
When are they planning on starting? Don't know.
May, June.
It's gonna be,
We have to do this and then contracts and then we'll set up a pre-construction meeting, so.
but if their estimate is the first half of summer, they'll start.
More than likely, probably, I don't know what their schedule is, we haven't really talked to them much yet, so.
Was there any discussion on where the hot mix plant was gonna be, or are they gonna, no?
You know that?
We wouldn't have a discussion.
Okay.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of said motion signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed, motion carried.
Okay. And the second one is the 2026 seal coat fog seal bid summary and recommendation. That is on all of County Road 8, County Road 5 from Elk Lake Campground North, and then County Road 14. Engineer's estimate was $637,135.15. And the low bidder was Morris Seal Coat and Trucking at $590,861.71. The low bid is approximately 8% below the estimate, and I recommend awarding the contract to low bidder Morris Seal Coat and Trucking in the amount of $590,861.71.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion. For the $590,861.70.
Okay, do we have a second?
More Silco.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second,
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
where's County Road 14?
Donley Road. Yeah, south of.
1.7 to the Stevens County line.
So it was three that County Road 8, County Road 5 and County Road 14.
Yeah, all of County Road 8, just a portion of 5, and then all of County Road 14.
Right. And 5 was north of Elk Lake Beach up
Yep.
to the gravel.
Yep.
Are there holes still on south end of 14 or not?
On the south end.
We got most of them patched. We gotta do a little bit of work before they do that. Okay. Yep.
Ones you're talking about, was in the middle of the road.
Yeah, that's what Don, just multiple county.
Right.
Okay, any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carried.
I gotta apologize to you guys, when I gave you the information the other day, I, had some of the wrong figures in there for chloride, so here's the new numbers, it's, I went with the 20-foot spread instead of 18-foot spread. So it just makes the numbers more than. Thank you. What do you guys do?
Yes.
Alright. So this is for chloride this year. Last year we we're at 96 cents a foot. This year we are at a little bit at 97 cents a foot. At $1.62 per gallon with Hennon Lawn Care. Fergus Power Pump was $1.70 a gallon at $1.02 a foot. And Knife River was $1.90 a gallon at $1.14 a foot. So I would recommend that we go with the lowest bid, is Hennon Lawn Care. But then on top of that, we would like to add on 12 cents to cover our county time onto that. For what takes us about 75 hours to stake everything out and get everything done. To cover our costs back into it.
You're still collecting checks down the highway from people that wanted to, correct?
Somebody had to stake their own. You're just going to verify.
We go out there, verify it. Some people don't get a stake in time, we stake it for them.
And I make the map.
He makes the maps, all the work that goes into it. So,
It's a linear foot.
yes,
And what house will do it?
18 foot. Yep,
Most the average, how many, 150, 200 feet, most of them?
depends on, but yeah, I'd say the average is, that 150, 200 feet. I mean, we have some bigger ones that are like 3,500 feet, but yeah. So,
You guys have somebody go with them at some point, or
Yep.
just hand the map? Call him off if it's gonna rain or anything like that.
we have a guy that goes with them all the time. Yeah, we go out and make sure everything's marked out to the right foot, right footage.
So you guys are staking everything, the highway is? Is that what I'm hearing?
We do stake a lot of it, but people can stake their own.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay, I
yeah.
got you.
We put stakes at each outlying shop in the shop here in Elway,
Yeah,
so people can pick them up and stake them
Yeah.
up, but we just go double check it, make sure it's.
you measure them then.
Yeah. So,
If they stake their own, they'd still get charged the 12 cents.
yes. Just cause we have to go out there and, double check, I mean, it's, for staking their own is where they want it.
Sure.
Per se, is more anything, like if they want it one side of their driveway than the other. When I go do it, I'm gonna center off the driveway and go X amount of feet each way. So. So people that want it in a certain spot, they stake their own. And then I just double check the footage is right. So if we do, the 97 cents from Hendon Lawn Care and add the 12 cents on, it'd be $1.09 per foot. Would be the overall cost.
Do we send out like a letter to, like those who've gotten it in past years?
No, we just advertise, in the paper and then also on Facebook.
I was just thinking that communication piece of why it's gonna be, it's a significant increase.
Yep,
Just so we're letting people know why it's.
yep. And we can put that in the paper and in our Facebook page.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to go with the Hennon Lawn Care plus the additional 12 cents a foot.
okay, we have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carried.
The second thing is that as I had the gravel, bids, realizing I was over the $175,000 threshold. I should have did the bid process a little bit different. So right now I request that we reject all bids and I'll redo the process.
Okay. We need a motion for that, I suppose, then. To reject all bid. Do we have a motion?
I got maybe a question, or I guess I can wait till after the motion, but. So you're referring to the process in relation to a dollar amount.
Yeah.
Will the process change the potential outcome? Or is it formalizing what we need to do, or kind of help me out
It's
with that?
formalizing what we need to do, but it could change the outcome of it too. Okay, so.
Well, we don't have the required, I'm assuming we don't have the required posting.
Correct. I was not,
Asking for bids because it's over the $175,000, there's different bid. or
Yeah.
Posting
you gotta,
requirements.
you gotta,
So we can't.
yeah. So,
I'll make a motion to reject all bids.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries.
Thank you.
Read.
Morning, guys.
All right.
So what you have before you is the last of the contracts for down at the recycling center. There was some funky communication with our solid waste guys down in Wilmer. They had some computer problems and all kinds of stuff this part of the year. So what you have in front of you is their hauler contract and then their hauler license so that they can take the appliances and scrap metal from our site and bring it to theirs. That's a process we have outlined in our solid waste ordinance, so. What I need from you guys is a motion to approve both of those.
Okay. Anybody want to make a motion?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Reed.
I think Tina just puts me in here to get you back on schedule, so. Do my best. Just a little update to the board as we get into the spring season here. There's a lot of, little things, the spraying, the window cleaning, the little contracts like that. Just giving you an update that we're working on, going through previous years to make sure that we didn't miss anything and everything's getting covered. We're also looking ahead at how old are the heat pumps and how old are the, the parking lot and things like that, the roofs on our buildings as we, we know that the update done in 12 at the courthouse now is 14 years old. So, those probably have a 20-year life on the heat pump and we should start to plan for replacement of some of those units so that we have a little cushion when that starts to happen. So, the building committee sat down and just looked at that, what's best if we budget each year to have money ready to go, do we wait and do a big chunk at the end? I think we're just gonna start kind of factoring in what the replacement cost is currently and maybe we'll kind of factor out how many years we think we have left to get to that point and what we need to look at. So we'll be working towards that, just a little update on that piece. We did talk a little bit about some security cameras at the storage building here at the courthouse and also at the recycling where our sheriff office stores. Yeah, they have some storage in there. We're not gonna necessarily put that as a priority right now. It hasn't been there for a long time, but we will probably look at a budget for that maybe coming up in the next couple of years to upgrade the camera system so that it covers all the doors on the east side of the building up here and also on the west side of the recycling center where the big overhead door is at. There's some items that get stored in there that probably should be maybe watching better than what they are. So that's just a heads up on that. Talked a little bit about the boiler inspection. So Wade currently does our inspection daily. He comes daily when the building is occupied. So he does not come on weekends. It's not a requirement on weekends. It's just the days, no holidays. He comes every day that the building is occupied and does his check. In the process here of trying to get our licensure, it's taken much longer than I hoped. But we did now find a couple of classes that we can go to a 1 day or 2 day class where you kind of cram the course in and then take the test afterwards. So I'll be looking to probably get some of that scheduled. I think later this month, there's one that Kyle can get to, which essentially what happens then is we go from Wade checking every day to we can check every day and he just has to do a once a week check on our checks because we won't have quite we have to get another licensure level to be able to operate this building. And so that gets us kind of the interim, the specials license, and then we need the second class license to operate this building, so. We have to work under him for a year in order to get test out for the second class licensure, so. The classes look to be, you know, $300-400 for the class, and then if it's an overnight stay, there might be some hotel and mileage stuff onto that, but. My hope is that if we can push through those courses, we can get that part taken care of a little quicker than what our. Life just gets busy sometimes, and studying for a course that you're not really up on has been tough, so. Anyway, so just a little heads up there, we'll probably be looking to go to a class, each of us. That way we can have some redundancy here at the county as well.
Would that reduce what Wade charges us then if we?
It will, it'll go from $50 a day to $50 a week. So essentially, he will just have to do a check once a week on us, as he'll be the, I don't know how they call it, the supervisor of that. The specials license is not enough to cover this building, it's enough to cover the courthouse. It goes by boiler size and horsepower, and so this boiler unfortunately is 10 horsepower over the limit for the specials, and so it's 60 horsepower and that limit is 50, and so we'll have to work under Wade for a year and then take the next level to be able to do this ourselves, and then once that's done, we won't have to have Wade involved after that, so. Yeah. Any questions on any of that stuff?
Yes, and Mr. Chair, if I can ask a question, don't you kind of have to be in the industry a little bit to kind of be familiar with what you're doing?
That's the
Is it a 2-year
year,
timeframe
no,
or
that's
what?
the year after this
Okay.
test, so basically you have to study for the first specials license. And then you have to work underneath someone for that year to get the next
Okay.
level, let's say year for the next level, you know, like, so Wade is a chief, which is like 3 steps up, so he can do. Any number of different units.
Right,
Especially getting into the old steam units, they're kind of going away, but it's heavy. The studying is heavy steam boiler, and we don't have a steam boiler system, so you still have to pass that test though in order to be able to be licensed on it, so basically we're studying for a bunch of stuff we're not gonna use probably ever, but it's part of the testing system currently, so that's the struggle right now is.
that's all structured through the labor industry, correct?
Yep.
And then what's your continuing hours of education to be able to retain that license, isn't it?
There's a renewal yearly, but I believe the fact that we're functioning in a daily checks, that counts for that time.
Okay.
There may be some, you know, CU stuff
Online
that
stuff, maybe.
we would maybe have to keep up on. Right now, we're more focused on just getting the initial, and then we'll worry about our continuing education after that.
So at some point, you could probably do like you guys' compressor down at the, or does labor industry come in and do that themselves?
I think there's an inspection yearly on
They
that,
do a yearly
But
inspection.
The
it's
state
not
comes
a-
and does that, that is
Yeah, I
something we
think
can do in-house?
separate.
No, I got some.
Yeah, I think you have, cause we still have to be inspected yearly by the state as
Okay.
well. So even though we'll have the licensure to operate, we will still have to be inspected yearly for compliance. Any other questions? I think I covered everything. Tina, did I forget anything?
Well, we just wanted to update the board a little bit, because before they were trying to do these 2 classes a week that were in St. Cloud in the evening. And it just wasn't,
That was
We're-
an option. We'd have to drive there Tuesday, Thursday nights from 6 to 9 and, you know, it just would have, it doesn't work. There isn't enough people out here to get a closer class, and so we basically have to travel.
That's usually how they do that.
Yeah,
Just get her done.
so. And then the only other thing there's a little blurb on the Western Prairie, indirect cost reporting stuff. We are working currently to split all the buildings out so we can see that this building costs this much and that building costs that much. In the past, they'd kind of been commingled a little bit. There've been some things that have been split out for this building, but now we'll really try to isolate time here versus time there versus recycling versus all that, so. You might see a few things show up a little differently as how it's billed.
But, that'll be just part of the Western Prairie conglomeration and how that all works together, so. Just a little heads up on that.
Well, then I think we should, and I will make the motion to, since we didn't have it in the budget, to put $1,000 towards motion light switches for the courthouse.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I apologize for that. Yes, so we did talk about, we've got a few rooms, we talked about some security items up in the courts level. And in that conversation, we got some numbers. I think the 4 rooms upstairs will be much less than $1,000, but talking about just budgeting for some upgrades in that so we can get more efficient lighting, throughout the courthouse. Use some more motion switches, so we're not leaving lights on in the break room and those kinds of things. They can shut off automatically and just make it a little more efficient. So that would be another item. Yes, thank you for catching that.
Yeah, I made that motion to approve that.
Okay, do we have a second to Troy's motion?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to, for $1,000, is that right? Annual, yeah, okay. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Thank you.
Morning.
Morning, Sheriff, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
We got a long list today. All right, so we'll start off. We did hire a deputy. Her name is Monica Metz. She's from Pelican Rapids. She started on March 23rd. And so she's going through the FTO process right now. So just like any other employee of the Grant County Sheriff's Office, we request to give a credit card so that they can use if they have to go to overnight trainings or get equipment or things like that. So that is my first request.
Okay.
She can be approved.
Do we have a motion for a credit card for the new deputy?
I will make that motion, Mr. Chair.
Okay, do we have a second? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried.
It was also brought to my attention that our record supervisor and our local system administrator, so it's Tina and Josh Ulrich, they do not have cellular phones. These roles are pretty critical for Grant County Sheriff's Office and for the Grant County itself. Right, they have been using their personal phones to do business while they're not at work. As you know, Tina is subject to call-ins or if there's anything going on with our equipment, we give her a call, as well as Josh. He's our newly trained local system administrator. So he's, taking on that role. And in the past, we've always had cell phones for the LSA. And I'm not sure why Tina's never been offered a cell phone plan, but I do think it's wise to get her off personal phones. Yeah. So I did do some checking. Looks like we pay about $36 to $40 per line at the sheriff's office. So it would obviously be an added expense, but monthly. We do have older phones that they can use, so we don't have to purchase a new phone.
Hey, do we have a motion?
I will make that motion, Mr. Chair.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All right, now, and you're talking buying no phones, correct?
I know phones.
I mean, for sure, for probably a couple of years.
Couple years. Yep.
Okay.
And then, we just did an upgrade on our phones right now. They were free upgrades, so
Okay.
we won't have to buy any.
It's
So I got a question, Mr. Chair. Do we have many staff members that are in this situation where they use their own phone and potentially could be accessed? Are we setting a new precedent from a county-wide standpoint? The other thing is was this requested by the staff? Because carrying two phones isn't always I won't say the easiest, I wouldn't want to carry two phones.
Hey,
So, who's driving the bus?
I am. Just because we've been going through the data practices, training. It is not ideal for anybody to doing anything, any business on personal phones.
We all have work phones too.
Well, if you envision those roles needing access to emails away from work, they either have to have a laptop or a county issued phone. They're not allowed to have their email on a personal device.
Correct.
So if they need email access,
And that's a good example, right?
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
Another good example would be, if somebody subpoenaed or wanted data requests, they're gonna come after your personal phone. That's not the greatest deal in the world.
That's not ideal.
So, okay, so I guess, any further discussion then? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
All right, well, since John retired, he was sort of in charge of the speed signs for the county. He handed me off the packet, the information that he had. But the question comes to us is that we're not budgeted for it, and the sheriff's office is not budgeted for it. So we need to know, we have currently, I think, 3 signs that are broken. Where are we gonna send the bills? Who's gonna take care of it?
There's a total of 14 signs. 3 are broken. They cause, they're always falling down, breaking. I did reach out to the auditor to see how many times like we've had to fix, cause I know that John has fixed in the past as your sign guy. And it looks like back in 2024, there was some issues with the sign and it came out of the county budget, not the sheriff's office. So moving forward, John had asked if the county wants to, maintain the signs because it's a county sign. Do you want me to be budgeting for that or who do you want to be budgeting for? Cause none of us.
We need the guidance or where it's gonna come from.
I think the question here is highways okay with maintaining them then, right?
Yeah, we can maintain them.
So if they get knocked over or they not work, and you guys will be doing that.
Yeah.
So the question would be, who pays the bill? Any ideas?
How about the ones that are, I think the guy that's got the folder?
We're not currently budgeted for it though.
Oh, you know. Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Well, when I understand, and I was told that when we purchased these, there was actually funds available within the county, the sheriff's department's budget, I believe 911 funds. But since ARPA was available in a special grant, Sheriff Combs didn't access that. I think it should be in the sheriff's department out of 911 funds, since it is a traffic control sign. Let me finish.
Okay.
If highway is willing to help with the signage, but I think the maintaining it should come out of the 911 funds or your budget, wherever you find it.
Because I don't think they're gonna come out of the 911.
No, I don't think that's.
There's a list there of specialty things there.
And I have one of the audits with me actually. I think that would be a stretch. To get it in there.
Mr. Chair, I got a question. The ones that are on state, signs in the state right away, such as Barrett, Erdahl. Do we have a contract with the state to be able to keep them on those signs? And how does that all work?
I know we had to get a variance to put them on there.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any sign. I didn't see no contract.
Okay.
I don't think Erdahl was included.
Erdahl was not included. That was my next thing. Yeah.
Well, they put their own.
Yep, they put their own.
Okay.
Yep.
But I think with the state there, they allowed us to put them in there, but they didn't wanna do any maintenance on it.
No, they want to do no maintenance. We have to all maintain them. I do.
The allowability is there.
Another question, maybe the 911 deal, I don't understand.
I would be shocked if it's allowed.
Yeah, that might not do. I guess the question I have, then, we commenced to put this program together, which I think is really beneficial,
Very.
and our sheriff retired, and we appointed a new sheriff, and all of a sudden we got a budgeting issue. Why would that be? These signs have been up now. The fact that there's a different person in the chair, I don't know why we're having this discussion.
Well, I think probably because the county, it's been coming out of the county budget.
It's been coming out of the county
It
budget.
hasn't been coming out of the sheriff.
There's no, it was never budgeted. No, it was just done.
And it was done by. Well,
So there's no, I mean, when you look back at 2025, there's no line item that is replaced. And so where does that line item go?
so
That's the question in front of us is,
So, yeah,
where is that line item gonna go?
yeah, so if it goes into the sheriff, that would go under equipment, right? So if it goes under highway, it would go under what equipment?
It'd go under signs and equipment.
So that's our choice, whatever we wanna do.
So, I mean, Pat, you guys are willing to do it. It's just whose budget, where's the money?
Yes, I mean, we have nothing budgeted for it all, I mean, we just need to know where to fill our time too, you know, in the parts, you know, cause the way it's looking, stuff's not very cheap to fix.
And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter which department it's gonna be levied on.
Yes,
So why would we put it in one fund only to transfer it once it's done? I would say just put it into the highway fund. Otherwise, you're gonna put it in, if you put it in the sheriff's office, then Pat's gonna do the work and send a bill to the sheriff's office, and we're just gonna create more paperwork. My opinion.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that.
Well, I would disagree. I think the purpose of the sign is the traffic control, which is a law enforcement issue. I think this repairing of that should be in the sheriff's department, and signage should stay in the highway department.
But a stop sign's in the highway department too, and that's an enforcement.
I
deal.
guess the highway department doesn't have an issue taking care of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've dealt with these in the past, and I liken them to a lot like streetlights, which we budget for maintenance on those. But problem I have is just saying that we're gonna do it, and we didn't budget for it. And we're gonna have to hire an electrician to work on some of these that we didn't budget for. So just wanna make sure the board's aware that that would happen. So we don't get bills and you guys wonder, this wasn't budgeted for.
Well, it would happen if it was with the sheriff too, the extra costs, so we're aware of it now, so. It's just, but it's up to the board, whatever you guys wanna do, I'll entertain a motion for whatever, so.
I'm not dying on either hill, so I'm not making that.
Okay.
You're right.
I'm not dying on either hill, so I'm not making that motions, whatever.
I won't make that motion, Mr. Chair, to have the highway department. Along with coinciding with the sheriff's department, so you guys kind of watch for it and help the highway department and those guys maintain it. Right, I mean, we can work together to make sure that. Is somebody, instead of you guys just making a special trip just to check on that kind of stuff, you know what I'm saying? You know, you got the deputies that are rolling by them all the time.
Yep.
Just make a mental note and let these guys know. So that is my motion, if you wanna write all that down.
To approve maintenance funding for the radar speed signs utilizing the highway department budget.
Yes,
Okay, we have a motion, do we have a second?
Also, I'm gonna.
Okay, we have a second, any further discussion?
So I got a question, because I remember John talking about data, accessing data. I don't know if there's a historical reason to access it from an enforcement standpoint. Is there a clear path on who's gonna, is Pat gonna access traffic control data, or is it just that we repair and replace this motion? There's more to this sign than whether it's not working.
Yeah, yeah.
Otherwise, we've defeated some of the purpose of spending the money.
Well, I think, yeah, that John go around and create or extract that every month or.
Yeah, occasionally you would have to be right in front of the sign.
Yep.
And I believe he told you rules.
Yeah, we have the information to get into the signs and check it all. We could share it, you know, I mean, if they had to pull a report on it, they could put it on their computer.
Yeah,
You know, run up to the sign and pull it up. It's not like it's a big confidential thing between us and the sheriff's office or either way, you know, so we can work together on that. But we all need to get in there to program, of course, and set the limits on everything.
Okay. Well, I think it's important data that, you know, that even the public should see that data, you know. How fast are they coming up Melby Avenue and Ashby or, you know, and,
Well, I just feel, Mr. Chair, that we're transferring something that really, to me, is in the lane of law enforcement. The highway. I'm really appreciative that Pat's saying we'll work together and do it. But is that clearly the path that we want our highway department with all their duties in? And I'm saying, I don't think it is. That's just Ken.
any further discussion? Well, all I got to say is, you know, that's something probably that you could show Jennifer too, with the sheriff, and
Yeah.
she could go and pull that data out of there where you're working on the hardware stuff, you know,
I don't. If we're gonna take on the budget, we'll have to come up with some sort of number for next year, of course, this stuff,
yeah, and then for this year too,
you know.
I mean, yeah, so. Hopefully there won't be anything, but somebody will probably,
Like I said, there's already 3 broken ones, they're just laying there, so.
oh, they're broke off.
Yeah, they're broken, we have
Do they,
2 broken solar panels and 1 broken screen, so.
so do they just break off from the wind or do
You
they?
know, their mounting system is not the best system, and we've been looking at trying to make it better, but still be within the crash test ratings. So,
That's not good if they blow over, I mean, you know. There's like if a car hits someone, you know it, then you get insurance that way, but those things are pretty expensive. Okay, any further discussion? Okay, I'll call the question and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Pat.
All right, so at the end of February, we've always been in a contract with, DSC. Oh, I'm sorry, which one are we on? Is it
The repeater tower project.
yeah, the repeater towers, yep. Yeah, so we've been in contract with the Motorola or DSC, for as long as I can ever remember. And so their contract consists of a yearly maintenance for our equipment, and it was brought to our attention at the end of February that all of our repeater towers need to be replaced. The equipment on it is obsolete and out of production by 2 generations, and I was also informed that when we purchase these towers, that we purchase them used. Typically, these towers need to be replaced every 15 to 20 years, and we are looking at 17 years with us. I have no idea how used they were when we got them. So these towers are for our paging capabilities for our EMS and fire departments. So they said that we will need to upgrade our current simulcast towers repeaters to an updated version of the simulcast. We also need to update some of these equipments that are on the towers, like our point-to-point repeaters, from the courthouse to Erdall. They advise that all these towers need to be done simultaneously. However, we can start purchasing some of the other equipment for the towers. We just can't do all the towers until all of them are ready. We were advised by DSC that the state will be upgrading the tower that is currently in Hoffman And so they have reached out to us and said that they will put our equipment on their tower for nothing, and they will even actually put it up for us, which will alleviate that cost. So we did have a meeting, with DSC and the state DOT. I think it was the beginning of March, and, they said that they can't do their tower project until June of 2027, which means all of our towers can't start until June 2027, because they all have to be done at the same time. That will allow us to continue to save money in our 911 funds, and, so DSC has graciously provided us the budgetary estimates of the simulcast projects, and I believe this is in your packets. And so it will be it's the red one. So with the state not being able to build the Hoffman Tower until 2027, DSC reports an increase of about 7% of the tower building, which is on the last pages of this note. It'll say Motorola on it. But you can expect a 7% increase by June of 2027. So after meeting this information with DSC and the state, I did meet with our county auditor to go over our budget with our 911 funds, because this is an allowable cost. And he said that the past sheriffs have been building this account for this exact reason, because they all knew that we had older towers, and soon in the future, we will need to be replacing these. So then I met with the Public Safety Committee, and I also had representatives from DSC, and they were able, to tell the story of the project, and the Public Safety Committee was able to ask questions. We also discussed the finance as well as our budget with the 911 funds. Again, this is not tax levied money, this is the 911 funds. At that meeting, it was recommended that I meet with the Budget Finance Committee just to, go over our budget with them and see if everything is on par and course. So then we met with the Finance Committee, and they believe that we could continue with purchasing equipment prior to the tower build with using our 911 funds, because they believe that we have appropriate amount of funds to do that. And again, this is allowable expense. And again, this was budgeted for many years. So DSC also provided other quotes for the time being that we can start ordering. And again, this equipment is transferable to the new towers. I think that was a question.
Well, one of the things I've thought of in the meantime too is if we buy this stuff a year early, are we losing a year of warranty? I believe that happened with the radios, and you two would know more of that than but I seem to remember when we went to this 800 megahertz, we bought all these radios on grant. And then when we went to live, we were already out of warranty because we had them sitting in a room.
So these will not be sitting in a room, they will be.
But I mean, if we buy them in June.
No, they're gonna be used. This is the equipment down below, this is not the equipment on the tower. This is like battery backups, which are needed.
Which would go in right away.
Which would go in right away, yeah. Like our point to point up in the courthouse. I believe this other one is for the Erdall to Elba Lake point to point.
So there's some infrastructure.
Yes.
That can be purchased before the towers.
Yeah.
That can get into service, so when we get to the 2027 time, that's done, it's just put up the towers.
Yep.
So those towers, so there won't be any question on warranty then, because we'll buy them when we need them.
Yep.
And then the warranty will go there on, I suppose.
Yep.
But yeah, I do remember that one with radio, so, yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause they sat for a while. Yeah.
And just to let you guys know, I, with our Central Minnesota Emergency Communications Board, we've been in contact with Sherry and some other people that were here at John's retirement. that came from the state, and we had a long conversation with them. They are looking for grants because we are not the only county that has to update our councils, has to update our towers. Which is millions of, of dollars. And so they are looking for grants. DSC is looking for grants, and the state, DOT is also providing paperwork to DSC. Just, if any way that they can assist.
Right.
Yeah, because, we're a small county, but we need these capabilities to be able to properly run emergency services, so.
Mr. Chair, if I can make a statement. Central Region is a rock star when it comes to the interoperability and legislative needs and all kinds of things down there. So
Yeah.
did some of that probably come out of Michael Myers, correct?
Yes,
Mike can tell you that.
Yeah, it was Michael.
Okay, so that's some of the discussion that we have in our emergency services board stuff, so.
Yeah,
There'll be more discussions moving forward from that.
Yeah.
And there's legislative updates that they're probably down there right now as we speak.
As we speak, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
talking about what the needs are
Yeah.
for the state as a whole, but the central region is kind of takes the lead. Just because of how they operate and the interoperability and how things are all laid out, they do a great job, so,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, so, I guess I would just hoping that you guys would just give the blessing to continue on with the project as kind of planned, and, we can go ahead and start making these little purchases, before the big upgrade in 2027. I believe in your packet, you have all the quotes from DSC and Motorola. We also put in that this is like an audit from 2020, must be 2025 of our 911 funds. And then the last page is it's the sheet that Chad had made, the auditor had made, about how much funds we have in that fund as we speak, and projected with all of our, the CAD RMS system, the towers, and they believe everything is gonna be okay.
So, Sheriff, these purchases that you're looking at starting to do, are they a big dollar amount for most of it, or?
These little ones,
Yeah,
like some are like 16,000, ranging to 72,000, 20,000.
Yeah.
63.
sure. So when you're thinking about purchasing that stuff, you're gonna bring that back to the board to like that 72,000, that's a lot of money,
Yeah,
And as
you,
you do this, can you bring it back to us?
can we bring back? Yep. Yeah.
Don't you think? I mean,
Well, I think we should, so this is a quote and not an estimate, right?
This is a quote, yep.
So I think we should approve this if that's what the board wants to do. So now we've laid out a budget. And we could maybe get a report back on better timelines of each one at a later date. Here's what we're gonna do in June and October and.
And they did say that some of this equipment might take 6 months to get, so, if we could sign the quote, give it to them.
okay,
Cause then, I mean, yeah, I don't disagree that, we wanna be updated and kept in the loop on it, but I think we need to. So I'm gonna go out on a limb without I ever asked that question, but I'm assuming these prices are all dependent upon doing all of it.
Luckily, they told us it's a 7% increase for the tower build.
Well, I mean, they may not have a piece of equipment that we wanna buy this June at that price if we're not buying the other piece of equipment next June at that price.
So, Mr. Chair, I got a question for the sheriff. So if grant dollars were, basically allocated, and we gave the commitment to move forward with this, you know, would those grant dollars backfill what we've spent?
I can't answer that question.
I've
never seen-
Mike and find that out. I got his number, so,
I've never seen a grant, so without seeing that RFP, I have no idea.
okay.
Yeah, they don't even know if they get.
Not necessarily, no.
No.
Well, the state ain't got any money to speak of
No.
to dish out, but they've always budgeted and kept the interoperability in place. And a lot of times, some of those grant dollars were spent and then they went back. That's what ended up happening.
And not to interject, but just, I guess I am, so I guess I am interjecting, sorry. But we know right now the total amount, and when we met with the Budget Finance Committee, what we currently have in the 911 funds covers it.
Yep.
It does.
And so like,
The
when
whole
we're
project.
talking about grants, because we also know in the future, after this project, at some point, the councils and dispatch will have to get updated, and that'll be a very large expense. So like, we don't, not counting on grants right now, because we don't have them. We know that if we get grants in the future, we're gonna have that big project to use them for. So right now, we know that the estimated cost of this tower project is $328,285. And the Budget Finance Committee saw the 911 funds and said there is enough in there to cover that right now currently. So we
Yeah.
know we have that, but then to your point, in this big future project, grant funding could be used for that.
Cause the 3 new councils that are needed is, $350,000.
Could I just ask a quote? Does this new equipment, is that gonna affect the end user, i.e. the fire department's
No,
EMS? Is that,
no,
so the upgrades aren't gonna affect the older equipment that they use?
No.
They'll still be working? Okay.
Yep, I specifically asked that question
Okay.
because I know all of our equipment in fire departments are our older equipment.
I think most, a lot of it's original.
Yep.
First buy, right? So,
Yep, and so this is only for the paging system.
so like, how about pagers? The pagers that we currently have
Nope.
will continue to work
Yep.
on the new,
Yep.
okay?
Because they're already simulcast. This is just an updated upgrade of simulcast.
I got a question here.
Yeah.
And off in a little different path. But I remember when we were looking at the Axon program, part of the there was funds available to lower the $82,000 approximate cost down to something. I can't find the worksheet right now. And I see now in the budget, we still have $82,000 for 2026. Are these funds that we were told about Axon to reduce the annual payment? Are they somewhere for the future, or is that program ship sailed and now we're spending money on another?
You spent money out of those funds to buy the price of Axon down to $82,000 a year. Those funds are gone.
No, the funds were bought down because it was 40 or 50 some thousand. I can remember distinctly.
Right, and they were paid on the front end to buy the price down for the annual payment. So there was the public safety grant, there was, I believe, some traffic diversion funds, there were some other funds that came
That
up.
was down to 82. That was supposed to be down to 50 something.
Maybe you wanna go back and look at your math. So that bought it down to that $80,000 mark.
I'm guessing Jen will get me the information.
Yeah.
And I might be wrong. I seem to think it was less than 80 something.
I think the original quote before remember after July 1st, it went up. I think the original quote was lower.
$57,000
Yeah.
additional, or less.
Yes,
Right.
60 less.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on, then we'll,
I just have one question. So, when we did meet with the budget finance, they said, they would approve if we had to do all these little projects, to do all of that, because we could afford it. So,
So barring any unforeseen events that we need communications money for, barring the legislature changing the tax rate on cell phones for this fund, we're gonna be okay in the 911 fund, even once we get through the dispatch or the consoles. We're just not gonna have any room for a lot of unforeseens. And the budget finance that we've just taken out of the 911 funds, because if you start taking levy money just to leave in the 911 funds, then it doesn't show a need for those grants.
Right.
Or for the state to maybe pony up additional money, so.
Yeah, and they'll be, I'm sure they're looking at county's fund balances on the 911. But like for our county, we talked years and years ago about building that up because we knew the big thing was coming down the road. Yeah, so, but you're right, Troy, if you're sitting on a lot of money, they're gonna say you don't need it. But after we get done with this, we wanna be conservative again for a long time
Yes.
and build it back up, so.
So I'm wondering if I can sign these quotes, if you approved it for me to sign these quotes for these lesser ones. Or do you want me to come back to the board every year? Cause
I think Troy is,
I think we would sign, we gotta have the tower done. I mean, I think
The
we just
equipment for it.
accept and assign,
Okay,
that as a contract and I'll make that motion to,
So what I have is to approve the repeater tower project utilizing E911 funds with an overall estimated cost of $328,285.24. That's the whole project.
and that, okay, the 7% then, is that figured in there?
No, this would, I don't know, that would be a question there, Jen.
I don't think. So I think it's in your quotes. There's Chad's sheet.
so it's got,
Chad's.
And if they
spreadsheet.
have that, that's in the packet, that one-page document in the 911 funds.
Yeah, so it'll be on,
Or that increase projections, Tina? It
yes,
says the projection, 911 projections, is that the page you're talking about?
It's at the end,
Yeah.
at the end of the packet, and it's got what funding has come in, the 911,
I got it.
what it's been used for, and what the projected, cause every year there, it's like 140 some or 142,000.
so what was the total here, 328?
Yep,
Yes.
and the quote,
Okay,
328.
so what I'm showing, if you go back and add 25 stuff. That's not, so 148, 477 and 189, 521 gets us to. That's way up.
so
I
this,
forgot to-
the 7% that needs to be adjusted, but it's on the spreadsheet. Is that the 138, and Chad has that 138, that's just the towers, so that
Hold on, I got it.
138 can't be started until June 27. He took that 138 times 7%, and he has that number on your spreadsheet. So even with the 7%, we still have enough security. Typically, we're saving at least $25,000 a year. So.
And we don't have to put the overall estimated cost in the motion. Jen's gonna come back. Once the project moves forward, you can itemize it out and come back with an update.
Sure. Yeah.
But the idea is to get a motion to move ahead with the project utilizing 911 funds.
So I just got an email from Chad again, that yes, it's got that it's including the 7% increase of quote. The Motorola tower upgrades, the 148,
There, yeah,
477,
and
48.
that's in your spreadsheet.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Yeah,
Did you make it, Troy?
yeah, I think so, right, David?
Yep.
Yeah, let's recite it again if you would.
That's right.
To approve the repeater tower project utilizing E911 funds with an overall estimated cost, $328,285.24.
Okay, and that's Troy's motion, right? Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
And I will come back to the board as often as I get an update on everything, but
And whenever you get something big coming in, you let us know.
Well, I'm less worried about letting me know than Jamie. So that we have, that I believe a lot of that was not, what's in there is not cash.
right, which was news to me.
So, yeah, I mean, you know, maybe that, when you send that in, maybe ask. D or the DSC.
Yep.
For a timeline that we can share with, so we have cash to pay it when
When it comes.
Yep.
Okay. All right, the next task is updating our Central Minnesota Emergency Service Boards. The change of committees, due to former Sheriff Holmes retiring, I have to update the committees. So, all the changes must be approved by the governing board, and then we have to contact the recording secretary of the changes via a specific form, which I've also attached in your packet. So we need to change the owner and operators committee. John was a delegate and I was an alternate. So we would remove John Holmes and as a delegate and put myself as the delegate. And then Josh Ulrich, the LSA, would now become the alternate. For the regional advisory committee, John was a delegate and I was a delegate. And so we would just remove John Holmes and then we would also add Josh as our LSA. The logger committee, John was a delegate and I was a delegate, so we'll remove John. And then we would add Josh as the LSA. As the alternate. And I believe that Maya has already updated some of his boards, so that's already been done. Then I think we should be good for Grant County.
Okay. So we need a motion for those changes.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chair, for the necessary changes.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have a motion and a second? Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried.
Thank you. And then last but not least, I just wanted to recognize some of our employees of the Grant County Sheriff's Office who have worked tirelessly and consistently go above and beyond their assigned duties, which that plays a vital role in the strength and success of our organization. I'd like to personally recognize these dispatchers and deputies who demonstrate exceptional commitment, professionalism, and leadership. Their willingness to take on additional responsibilities enhances our capabilities and directly benefits our communities that we are serving. Because there's not a lot of ladder climbing at the Grant County Sheriff's Office, just due to our small numbers, we wanted to recognize that a lot of these individuals are going above and beyond their, assigned tasks. And so back in 2023, John and I went to the board or to the personnel, hoping to get incentive pay for some of these individuals that are working above and beyond their duties. And with the approval of the union, we were able to receive or to get the incentive pay for these individuals. But I just wanted to go ahead and kind of brag about our employees that we have. So I'd like to recognize all the employees and specifically Deputy Jeremy Albright. He is a field training officer and he's also a firearms instructor. Again, these are not just one task. These are, if you're going to be an instructor or a field training officer, you have to maintain and keep reading and researching just to be the best for our employees. Deputy Kyle Mickelson is on SWAT, which is not an incentive, but I think it's still worth moving. He's also a use of force instructor and a firearms instructor, and now he'll be going to school for a field training officer. Deputy Jordan Skatsum is a drug recognition expert, and he's also a taser instructor. Investigator Ken Fremming is a drone operator, as well as Deputy Rude is also a drone operator. Investigator Elliot Johnson is a field training officer. Joshua Ulrich is our LSA dispatcher. He's also an EMT. Heather Olson, a dispatcher. She's a field training officer for dispatch. And Jackie Webb, a dispatcher, is also an EMT. So I just wanted you guys to be informed of the grace that all of these individuals do.
Good. All good. So, now they're all getting that incentive pay now, they have been.
They have them,
Yeah.
yep. These individuals, you know, did this prior to incentive pay, so they didn't have any idea that they were gonna be,
Okay,
you know. They just on their own will did this
so we only have one on SWAT now, one person.
right now, yep.
Okay. We've always usually had two, but.
Yeah, and just Nolan, Deputy Nolan.
Yeah, he was on,
He was on SWAT,
Okay.
yeah. So I am looking to fill that spot.
yeah,
It's just, it's really busy right now and I can't afford to lose anybody else, but I do have one earmarked. Mhm.
Mr. Chair, I got a question.
Yeah.
Between SWAT and SRT, are they one and the same? Didn't it used to be special response team and now it's turned into SWAT or?
Yep,
that's
it's the same, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't,
Actually,
that's a regional commitment, right? I mean, you're talking 5 counties and deputies from 5 counties that all get together to train for that?
I think it's three.
it's 3.
Just 3?
Yep, yep. Yeah. I also I forgot to add to the list Logan Nelson, Deputy Logan Nelson, she's our dare officer.
Yeah, yeah. That program went pretty good, I heard,
Very well,
yeah,
it went very well. No.
okay. Well,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. Okay, so. Tina?
All right, the first item I have is the Otter Country Trail Association resolution. This is a resolution that the board has passed and previously, and it's for the snowmobile trail that are in Grant County. You have it included in your packet, so I'd be looking for a motion to approve resolution 2026-0407-1 for the Otter Country Trail Association for 26-27 season.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second,
Second.
we have a motion, a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carried.
All right, in the same lane there's another resolution for the Low Plains Drifters Club for the 26-27 season. That is resolution 2026-0407-2. And again, the board has historically approved this resolution, and there's no change to it, just looking for the new season.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second,
Second.
we have a motion, a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carried.
Lastly, in your packet is the finalized Grant County appropriation request policy. We've talked about it the last couple meetings. It was sent out to the full board and asked for feedback, and revisions. And, I had received some and made those adjustments. And so today I am bringing it forward, looking for approval for the Grant County appropriation request policy. And if approved, I will be working on a letter to send it out to agencies that have requested appropriations in the past. Just a side note, It's on the policy, but there are some, exceptions to agencies that don't have to, do it, and those are the ones that have board members sitting on their committees. So the list of who who historically is asked and who would be exempt is included in the policy for reference. But if approved, I would send that information out.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I just have a comment on, under budget, item B. I think, exactly the wording, but I think if an organization has an official outside firm do an audit, that we should receive the complete audit. A balance sheet and profit loss would not have been representative of what took place with HRA or the audit was. So if an organization has an outside audit, I think that should be listed on B, that we have that data, which would include a balance sheet and profit and loss. Not all of the organizations have that. A lot of it's internal record, simulating the records internally.
Just put audit after that, audit if done or
Yeah.
performed.
Official audit.
If available,
Well, if they're completed, it has to be available. It should be part of the requirements if they have one, I think is what I'm saying. Not all we want to word it, don't be alone, but
Well, it's just another
layer.
bullet point on what to provide. If outside agency does an audit, you have a completed audit for previous years, please provide.
And one of the reasons it's really important is when you do have an audit, the notes to the balance sheet. Or the subsequent notes of the audit are really important, and that would be a reason to have that.
Okay. With that changing, looking for a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion when including that change, yep.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried,
That's all I have.
okay? All right, okay, the committee reports or updates. Budget and Finance Committee.
We are meeting this afternoon to go over the first quarter.
Is like the percentages, Troy, is that what you're talking?
Well, go over everything, yeah, that's been spent.
Yeah, okay. That's a good thing.
In addition to that, the budget committee is gonna be meeting with departments again in June. So, tomorrow at the department head meeting, we're gonna talk about that, and, we started, last year was the first year, and some department heads really liked it, so we're gonna do that again.
Good. All right, Building Committee,
Mine was here and got us up to date, I think.
Yep, I'm good with that.
okay. EMS Committee,
I can add to that, I had a meeting with, Lake Region. It wasn't Kent Madsen, but it was his, the person that reports directly to him. I forget her title at the moment, what it is, but Eric Risbert and I met with her and went over our EMS committee work to date and where we're at. And she was going to bring that back to the hospital board and share with them and see if there's an opportunity for our committee to give an update to their whole board as well as we move forward.
that's good. That was an important piece to get that done. Okay, Personnel Committee,
I know we've got a meeting coming up about getting the firearm thing finalized with LELS.
Okay. All right, highway committee, Billy, did we have anything?
No, but everything was kind of brought up to speed here with our, motions and seconds and road work and things like that, so. I would say it was pretty well covered.
Public safety committee.
We met last Wednesday with fire and EMS. And we'll meet again. Or not again, we'll meet this one tomorrow with the cities, I believe mayors and clerks, but they can have 2 people, whoever they are, attending.
Okay. Solid waste, committee?
We met, we're talking about it last week. I think we just kind of laid out some timelines. We introduced the new member and Reed was here, got that done.
Reed and I are meeting on Friday. We're gonna look at some public education pieces to get out to the public.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you guys normally put something on Facebook and the paper and all that for the seasonals that show up too? So they're
We're
kind of
gonna talk about all the different audiences to try to get some public education about the changes that have been made.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, strategic planning,
So we had our first meeting with the public members. And we discussed ways of getting additional public engagement or more. We talked about using the website and Facebook to expand community engagement, sharing ways for people to know that there's a YouTube channel, that the website is there. They can sign up to the website for notifications. We talked about using Indeed for job postings more.
And we, Tina had presented some of the costs that we incur in various areas of communications, and it was certainly, print especially, it's getting pretty expensive, and the decision on how to use social media or website and so on versus print or some of the other. And she had put together a newsletter, really nicely done. The question is that kind of the direction we want to go? I think it's a work in progress. Would that be accurate?
Just trying to see where we get the best investment in time on what we use. The newsletter takes a lot of time. How many people actually read the newsletters that they get, or is it more like this in the current event type world, like there's something happening next week and using Facebook? Does that make more sense than trying to put a newsletter together that's going to cost a lot of money to mail out? And just looking at ways that we can make sure or do our best effort in making sure the public knows where they can find information out about the county and county departments and county government. And so having the public members a part of the committee, it just brings a different perspective, because when we're hyper focused on what we're currently doing, the eye opener for me was that, a lot of the public still doesn't know that you can see agendas and minutes on our website. They still don't know that you can contact me to get the link to participate, to be on the meeting live. So just doing more public outreach, kind of like, did you know? And more, the same message, but more often maybe, so that they are aware if they choose to be aware.
okay. Okay, Horizon Public Health, we're meeting on Monday. Cool. And we'll find out more than they're working, with the new director and lots of things going on there. So, okay, Western Prairie.
And we approved the concept of a lease agreement, so that'll get formalized and sent here for us to approve.
All right, anything else? Okay, if nothing else, I'll adjourn the meeting at 10:30. Thank you, Tina.
Here.
Thank you.